Alright guys, now we're moving from the geology aspect of our evolution unit into our biology aspect. What is a species? That's pretty important. Um, that's what we're going to cover this video. We're going to talk about what a species is. We're also going to talk about adaptations. There's another video about a camel that you need to watch too. Alright, so what's the point? By the end of this, you want to be able to define what a species is. What's this guy, for example? You want to explain what an adaptation is, or what adaptations might he have, for example, and you want to explain the importance of biodiversity. That's a really important one. Um, so first off, a species. Well, basically, it's an organism that's able to interbreed and produce fertile offspring. Okay, so this is a group of organisms having many characteristics in common, and it ranks below genus. So let's have a look. We can break species down into, so obviously we're looking at the American black bear here, or Ursus americanus. Ursus means bear. Um, Basically, here we have the domain, which is eukarya. So this is anything that has a nuclear cell, so nuclear bound membranes in its cells. Cool. All right, that's everything from the bear right down to plants and fungus and crap like that. Then we go to animalia, which means we kick off everything that is not an animal. And that's also pretty sweet. So you can see when we do that, our group gets smaller, which means we are getting better at identifying the one we're looking at. Okay, so this is how classification works. Then we've got chordata, that's anything with a backbone. Mammalia, anything with mammary glands, sort of. Then we've got carnivora, which are all the carnivorous mammals. Then we've got Ursidae, which is the group that includes bears, raccoons, pandas, or, anyway, it doesn't matter. Then you have your genus, which is just the bears, just the ones we would look at and go a bear, remember? A panda is a raccoon. And then we get to the specific one. Now, what makes it special is that while it's, so it gets, these are all fairly similar, pretty much the same. A little bit different, bigger differences still, and so forth. What happens here is that this bear can only have babies that are fertile with another one of this species, and that's what makes it a species. So let's look at biodiversity. Basically, it's the variety of plant and animal life in an ecosystem or a habitat. Um, we want as much biodiversity as possible, and that's because if something happens, catastrophic, the other guys will be able to survive because you've got diversity. There's different things to sort of balance each other out. Um, and it's all because everything's kind of related, in many ways, like not just genetically, but they're also everything relies on one another. So if biodiversity starts to die out, that means things are going to start missing out on what they need. For example, if you lose all of the top predators in an ecosystem, um, initially the herbivores will their numbers will increase, and this seems like a good thing. It's good for them, except they will eat too much food, which will destroy all the plants in the area to the point where the plants can't survive any longer, and all of the herbivores will then die off, and just everything falls apart. Um, so here's biodiversity web, just to sort of get our head around it. So we see that everything relies on one another. Okay, it's all interrelated, and if you take this guy out, well, it's going to affect the fungus, will affect the seedlings, which then affects the birds, which then get eat other things, and get eaten by other things, and so forth. So what's an adaptation? This is what makes you different. It makes you special. The wonderful little snowflake that you are is because of a whole bunch of different mutations and adaptations. So an adaptation is a change in an organism to suit its location. And that rhymes, and that's going to get in your head because you're going to watch another video after this that is all about a song. Um, so basically, adaptations are the result of genetic mutations. Okay, and that's important. That'll come back later on. Um, so genetic mutations, and these are expressed as phenotypes. Now, let's have a look. So you've got three different types we're going to look at. Oh, probably, actually, yeah, three. Cool. Two. So you've got physiological adaptations. These are adaptations in the physical / chemical structure of the organism. Cool. Then you have behavioral ones, and this is also cool. So these are adaptations which change the behavior of an organism. So, for example, there are adaptations in kangaroos that make them want to hang out at dusk and dawn and not so much during the middle of the day or the nighttime. But adaptations, they're the result of genetic mutations, so changes in genes, in the sex cells of a plant or animal. This is what allows them to be passed on to the next generation. So let's have a quick look here. These are all very closely related because they're all birds. Um, but we'll see over here we've got the insect catching nightjar, we've got the fish catching shoveler duck, the seed crushing finch, the flesh tearing eagle. You see it's shaped like a knife, and then you've got the one that gets up really early in the morning with this long curved beak. This, by the way, interestingly, is a cigarette packet, a cigarette card. They used to put trading cards in cigarettes, because we're talking like the early 1900s, because, kids. Um, Adaptations are the source of variation within a species. So this becomes really important later on. So generally, we don't all look alike. We are quite different, sort of, not really, but there are small differences within a species, and these are the results of adaptations, and they affect your likelihood to survive. So let's have a look at some adaptations of owls. For example, their eyes at the front. Okay, this has downsides, but what it does give you when both your eyes are facing forward, it gives you depth perception. Now remember, we as humans, until about like 6 million years ago, we all lived in the trees, which meant we swung from tree to tree, which means we need forward-facing eyes. We need forward-facing eyes so we can tell how far away the next tree branch is, otherwise you fall and die. That's pretty important. All primates, except for us, and gorillas, whatever. All primates except for us and possibly gorillas pretty much spend upwards of 90% of their time in trees. And this is why we all have forward-facing eyes. Ours are the same. They've got forward-facing eyes so they can swoop down and catch things in the middle of the night. They have sharp talons for catching things while they fly, so even if you don't grip it properly, a part of your claws or your talons will dig in and take it away. The necks have a lot of flexibility, so they can follow it as they fly in a straight line. They can sort of, move it around and see where they're going. And this is the scary part. They have silent flight. You can't hear them. Like, you can hear most things flying if they're close, particularly if you've got really good ears, like rats do. But they have silent flight because they've got these fringed feathers at the edge of their wings, and it muffles the sound. And that's cool. Owls are rad. Also as rad are the kangaroo rat. One adaptation is they've got this lovely colouring, and this lovely colouring means it's very hard for them to be, like, they're very well camouflaged, which is good because owls like to eat them. They've got smaller front feet, so they can, with tiny sharp little claws, so they're good for digging and handling food, whereas they've got these very big back feet, which allows them to leap very, very fast. Kind of like a kangaroo does, actually. And they've got that big long tail for to help balance them out a bit. They also kick sand in the eyes of things that are trying to chase them. This is a behavioral adaptation. So these are all physical or physiological. We use the word physiological adaptations, but a behavioral adaptation is when they're being chased, they kick sand in the eyes. And that's pretty sweet too. All right. This is an exciting topic. This is fun stuff. I'll see you in class.